Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is getting extremely close to breaking from this pattern, while Ethereum is officially retesting the breakout line for this bullish pattern. And on top of that, Solana is potentially repeating history, flashing a new signal in the short term that we need to pay attention to. So I'll be talking about that later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just giving you a really quick update here on the daily Bitcoin chart, and right now the bearish divergence is technically still active because we have not yet confirmed a new higher high in the price or in the RSI in the daily candle closes here. And so once again, this bearish divergence means we're due to see a reduced bullish momentum on the daily time frame, at least in the shorter term, which usually plays out in the form of either choppy sideways price action or potentially a bit of a pullback in the price of Bitcoin as two of the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. And so obviously over the last few weeks or so since this bearish divergence confirmed, we have been seeing a lot of choppy sideways price action as expected as one of the most common outcomes. But as I've also been saying over the last few weeks, choppy sideways price action, a sideways consolidation like this, does not necessarily mean the bullish trend is completely over. Obviously, this could just be a bit of a pause within the bullish trend before continuing the bullish trend later on, especially while the DXY is still in a bearish trend here on the daily time frame. Because as you can see here on this chart, pretty much always when the DXY is trending in the bearish direction on the daily time frame, almost always that is a bullish signal for Bitcoin in terms of the trend here on the daily time frame. And of course, on the other hand, when the DXY is bullish, that is usually bearish for Bitcoin and crypto in terms of the trend. And so considering the DXY is still trending in the bearish direction, right now I am still bullish on the trend in the price of Bitcoin. It's just in the somewhat shorter term, obviously we've taken a bit of a pause from that bullish trend due to this bearish divergence. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously right now the price of Bitcoin is still forming this ascending triangle pattern with this line of resistance still sitting at around 44.2k, and this line of support just yesterday was sitting at around 42.6k, but right now is sitting closer towards around 42.7k. And so in order to actually confirm the next move, the next price target for this pattern right here, we need to see a confirmed break either below that support or above this resistance, with confirmation such as candle closes above resistance or below support on larger time frames like the 12-hour chart, for example, not obviously the 1-minute chart. And another confirmation signal would be looking for a potential retest. Obviously, if we break to the downside, bounce back up and retest that previous level of support and confirm it as new resistance, that would be an extra confirmation signal of a break to the downside. And on the other hand, obviously, if we're breaking out in the bullish direction above resistance and then come back down and bounce from that previous level of resistance to flip it into new support, that would be a bullish retest, further confirming the breakout to the upside. But at least as of right now, we have not yet actually confirmed a break below support or above resistance here on the 12-hour chart for this ascending triangle pattern, which means the technical price target is not yet in play. And if you actually measure out from where we are right now to the end of this triangle, that's roughly around 6 days from now, which basically means at some point within the next 1 week, we're likely going to see either a break to the downside or a break to the upside, and we can make money no matter what direction we go as soon as we actually see confirmation of a break of one of these levels. For example, if we break out above resistance with confirmation, then that would set up a bullish price target at around 49.6k. But on the other hand, if we actually break below this line of support with confirmation, that would set up a bearish price target to the downside at around 37.8k, close to 38k. And once again, as traders, we can make money in either direction. Whether we're breaking to the downside or to the upside, we can use longs to the upside or shorts positions to the downside to profit in either scenario once we first see a confirmed break of either support or resistance. And now that the price is getting very close to breaking one of these levels, very close to breaking from this ascending triangle pattern, of course, if you want to take this trade, you might as well get set up ready to go on an exchange. And personally, I use Bybit, so I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And in fact, if you use that link down below this video, you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex in the description down below and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link and deposit $100 worth of crypto and make one trade over on Bitflex, you can get 10 USDT completely for free. And so once again, if you're trading crypto anyway, or if you're preparing to take the next trade, you might as well get set up ready to go on one of those exchanges using those links down below this video if you want to claim those extra bonuses. But anyway, taking a look at the shorter term, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, and right now, as of recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is running into a bit of short-term resistance. First of all, we have this price range acting as resistance, sitting in between around 43,000, going up towards around 43.4k, and we also have this short-term descending line of resistance, which is sitting at approximately 43.3k. And so at least in the immediate short term, once again, that's the resistance to pay attention to. But if we break out above around 43.4k, then in that case, our next important area of resistance here in the short term is sitting in between around 44.3k, going up towards around 44.7k. And as for short-term support, obviously we do have some support around these lows right here, which is sitting at approximately 42.2k. But below that level right there, if we see a break to the downside in a more bearish scenario, then we also have support right here based on these previous lows, sitting in between around 40.6k approximately, going up towards around 41k. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto funding rates across multiple different exchanges, unfortunately, these funding rates are still very much above their neutral rate. And so this essentially means right now the market is somewhat overheated with long positions. A lot of people are trying to long the market right now to the point where there's a major premium to simply long Bitcoin or any of these crypto assets with high funding rates. And so what that actually means is if you want to long these cryptos with these high funding rates, as a long position, you're paying a lot of money in these funding rates to the short positions just by holding that position. And so basically the only way the longs are making money right now is if the prices are actually pumping. Otherwise, the shorts are making money. Even if the price is going sideways, the longs are losing money and the shorts are making money due to these very high funding rates. And in fact, with some of these funding rates extremely high, even if the price goes slightly to the upside, just slightly to the upside, the shorts could be still making money while the longs are actually losing money due to how high these funding rates are right now. And so as I've said over the last couple of days, these very high funding rates are unsustainable for the crypto market, which means at some point, sometime soon, obviously it's hard to say exactly when, but at some point, sometime soon, possibly within the next few days or over the next 1 week or so, we're likely going to see a bit of a reset of these funding rates, which could mean a bit of a reset in the crypto market by seeing some sort of short-term pullback before potentially continuing a pump later on. And so obviously these high funding rates do not guarantee that we're definitely going to see a lot of bearish price action right now, but it is a potential warning signal that is worth considering moving forwards. And if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin dominance charts here on the weekly time frame, over the last 1 day, nothing much has changed here in the Bitcoin dominance. Obviously, we are beginning to see a breakdown below this line of support right here, which is really the first signal we've seen of a potential trend reversal from bullish back to bearish. But right now, we have not fully confirmed the trend reversal. We've just seen this early warning signal of a trend reversal here in the Bitcoin dominance. And so basically, this is a signal pointing towards a potential altcoin season coming very soon. And once again, I talked more about that in my last video. So if you missed my last video, definitely check that one out. But anyway, getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily time frame, and right now the price of ETH is potentially forming a new bearish divergence, but as of right now, we have not really seen a lot of confirmation confirming the new bearish divergence. And so overall, I'm still more bullish than bearish, especially in terms of the trend. Obviously, we have not actually broken the bullish price structure, forming higher lows and higher highs, which means as of right now, we're still within the bullish trend, even if we do confirm this new bearish divergence. It's just if we do end up confirming the new bearish divergence, obviously that would just likely result in a bit of a cool down or slowdown from the bullish trend, but not necessarily the reversal out of the bullish trend. And now if we're taking a look at the 8-hour ETH to US dollar chart, just recently at the time of recording this video, the price of ETH has perfectly executed a pretty much perfect retest of the breakout line or the neckline for this inverse head and shoulders pattern. And of course, that level once again is the point of invalidation, which means if we see candle closes back below around 2330, that would invalidate the breakout to the upside and invalidate the pattern. And if we're zooming into the 4-hour time frame, right now the price is actually running into a bit of short-term resistance, and this is now happening after a pretty much perfect bounce of this area of support, which I also talked about in my last video. And this area of support is sitting in between around 2310 going up towards around 2330, and this area of resistance resistance is sitting in between around 23.80 going all the way up towards around 24.10, which means right now the price could potentially slow down in the short term around this area of resistance. But if we do end up breaking out above this area of resistance, so breaking out above around 24.10 with candle closes here on the 4-hour chart, then of course we could head higher towards this technical price target here on the 8-hour chart. But anyway, taking a look at the Solana to US dollar chart, and right now the price of Solana is still sitting just below this important Fibonacci level of resistance, which is sitting at around $120. And so far, that's pretty much exactly where the price of Solana has rejected from in the short term, which is exactly what I talked about since all the way back down here at the golden pocket. Because obviously, if you were on the channel back then watching my videos a few weeks ago now, of course, I said as soon as we break out above $77 above this golden pocket, then expect a quick move up towards around $120, which is where the next major resistance is sitting at, and we're likely going to struggle around that level. And once again, at least as of right now, that's pretty much exactly what has happened as expected, but we also have more resistance at around $140 based on this previous high. And so really in between around $120 to $140 is basically the final significant area of resistance before potentially we head up towards the all-time high, sitting closer towards around $250. But obviously that can only happen once we confirm a breakout above this area of resistance, which so far is proving to be strong resistance. But either way, whether we see a bit of a sideways consolidation before breaking out, or if we see a larger pullback before breaking out, either way, I'm still bullish on the larger trend at play, even if we do see a short-term pullback. And if we're taking a look at the 4-hour Solana to US dollar chart, obviously over the last few days, we did see a bit of a short-term pullback exactly as expected due to this bearish divergence, which was repeating history. Because once again, as I've been saying since all the way back up here, we're likely going to see a bit of a short-term pullback similar to what we saw back here, or at the very least, sideways consolidation, basically a short-term cool-off from the bullish price action. Because not only is the price running into significant resistance on the larger timeframes, once again, we're also playing out a bearish divergence on the smaller timeframes, just like what we saw back here, which did result in a pullback in the price of Solana. But right now, if you're looking at the 4-hour Solana RSI, we are actually bouncing from the exact same area of support that we bounced the last 2 times, where we actually formed a local low in the price of Solana. And so essentially what has happened over the last few days is the price formed a bearish divergence between the price and the RSI, which reset the RSI back down towards more neutral levels, which is actually giving us some more room to the upside. And obviously this is something that has happened before, just like what we saw back here. Once again, the bearish divergence reset the RSI and the price in the short term before potentially giving us more room to the upside later on. But it is worth pointing out that right now we've only really spent a few days around this Fibonacci level of resistance, whereas the last Fibonacci level of resistance, we actually spent around 1 to 2 weeks at that level. And so it's possible that the price of Solana could just bounce around in the short term just underneath that Fibonacci level of resistance, once again at around $120. But at least for now, we are potentially beginning to flip a little bit more bullish again in the short term, which could mean this bearish divergence is potentially now over. But remember, we're still sitting underneath major resistance. And so that basically means, of course, the price could bounce a little bit in the short term, but we could still see more rejections around that resistance. But either way, whether you think the price is looking bullish, bearish, or simply going to chop around sideways, you can make money in either of those scenarios by watching these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money with longs or shorts in bullish or bearish price action, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.